blessings in abundance. This is Brother Polight, and we're here for another installment to speak to you guys about having a credit diagnostics. And what do I mean by credit diagnostics? You got coaches, you got trainers in different sports, but when it comes to this money, we just wing it. Being a coach when it comes to money. How about that? You got people that go through training. So boxers get trainers. Basketball players get coaches. Football players get coaches. We have to make money sport, and we have to start having coaches when it comes to making money. How about that? I'm going to really talk to you guys today. And so, it's easy to become a millionaire. You know why? Because only 5% of Americans, out of almost 400 million people, only 5% will ever get a chance to access wealth. Less than half will be able to keep it. So if the other 95% will never get a chance to access wealth, it stands to reason that the only disconnect is the information, because once you get the right information, you're going to be able to be a millionaire. So being a millionaire is easy. Where you go to get the information may be the hard part, because of the people you associate with. So whenever you talk about the big money, people are always going to look at you in dismay. They're going to always look at you in disbelief. They're going to always make you feel like you're reaching. You're just dreaming. You're playing pretend. I remember when I went to school, I was supposed to create my dream house. They gave us construction paper, drawing paper, pencils, crayons. I asked for another paper. I asked for another paper. I asked for another paper. The teacher said, no, you know, you ain't got to be perfect. It's a work in progress. You learn how to draw. Hey, miss, I ain't having a problem drawing. I'm on my 4th dream house. I got in trouble because I envisioned me having 4 dream houses. They was limiting my perception. Sure, I should have followed instructions and draw 1 dream house, but in my mind, I'm like, damn. If I come short of my 1 dream house, there is no dream house. So what if I draw 4 different versions of my dream house, and if I come up short, at worst, I would still have a dream house. But it's the way I see the world. So like I said, basketball players have coaches. Boxers have trainers. When it comes to money, we just guess. We wing it, and hopefully it works out. It's just like we deal with health. Now, I'm talking about this because people always want to know, why am I paying you for the credit service? Or why you charge so much? Because when you get me, you get a coach, you get a mentor, in addition to getting access to monies that you don't have to pay back. When you pay your $2,000 for me to boost your credit scores and leverage your results so you meet the criteria to be approved of monies that you don't have to pay back, ranging from 50 grand to 300 grand, with just one of our options. But I have a team available, loan officers, credit specialists, that's going to work to make sure that whatever money is out there, if you're just missing 1 or 2 of the points that make you part of the demographic that money should go to, that you don't have to pay back, we make sure you get it. And the only thing that I ask for is 10%, and people be tripping. And that's how small-minded people are. That's how small-minded people are. And shit, if only I got you credit cards, which I'm way better than that. The type of credit cards I'm getting you, black cards and limited cards. But people say, man, but you got to pay that back. So what you selling people on cards for? Well, I say this. The mentality of most people when they get approved of credit, lines of credit or a credit card, their mentality is normally, let me use this when I don't have the money. And so the average person that doesn't have the money, that's utilizing resources available to them that they don't already have, you will eventually be overwhelmed in debt. I teach credit investing. And it's scary for people because people believe you have credit cards for emergencies. People believe you have credit cards for when you don't have the money to use that, and then magically you'll get the money back to pay for the money that you never had. And it can work here and there. But that principle eventually messes up more people than less people. I teach credit card investing. Say, for instance, I get you a credit card with a $100,000 limit. And then I take you to a tax deed auction, or I teach you about investing in tax liens, whether it be online, silent auction, or you go to it in person. And let's say with your credit card, you buy a tax lien that's like $8,000. And you purchase it under the pretense that, hey, you know what? This tax lien, most likely no one's going to redeem, because the way we do the due diligence, we don't expect people to redeem. That is to say, pay for the past due delinquent property taxes. And when nobody redeems on the tax lien, that is a debt that is being solicited in the form of a property tax by way of the county government, so that someone can invest in it and get a percentage back. With us, we're always looking for anywhere between 20 to 36% on our profit, should someone redeem or pay back the taxes. That's the worst case scenario, that you get 20 to 36% of your money back. In the best case scenario, no one pays back the property tax. You may say, why is that the best case scenario? Because if no one pays back the property tax, the county government gives you the property for the amount equal due in back taxes. So if I pay $8,000 in back taxes, I could, one, get anywhere as much as $2,400 plus if someone pays it back. Or two, I get the property that's, let's say the property is $250,000. I get the $250,000 property for only $8,000. Plus, I'm going to have to pay some real estate closing fees, so forth, so on, but it's not going to be that much more. Considering I'm getting a $250,000 property equity. But you say, but damn, Polight, I swiped $8,000 for the credit card, and now I own a $250,000 property that I only paid $8,000 from my credit card. Then when you get the mortgage note, okay, inside of that month or two, maybe even 3 months, when you get the mortgage note, should really begin in the first month if you do it the way I teach you. When you get the mortgage note, what's going to happen is, or you can just go straight to the source and get a tax deed. But I really am not trying to do too much of the real estate investing conversation right now. We'll have another conversation about it. I'm just giving you credit card investing strategy. Swipe that card for an $8,000 investment on a past due delinquent property tax form of real estate, tax lien. Say it's a $250,000, you swiped $8,000, you're probably not going to spend more than $10,000, $11,000 total after you pay the real estate closing fees, so forth, so on. So now, after spending about $11,000 from off of this credit card I got you, it's a $100,000 credit card. The type of credit cards I get you, there's no late fees. Think about that. And so what happens is, now that you got the deed, I say, well, go to the bank and get a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. And what they'll do is they'll give you anywhere between 40 to 60% that of the equity of the property on a card with an APR rate lower than a credit card. So if it's a $250,000, $250,000, right? Let's do that. Let's say 60%, because you know I boost your credit, right? So you're gonna get the 60% of the $250,000, because I already would have hooked up your credit. So you'll get 60% of the equity. So 60% of $250,000. How much is that? You'll have 150 grand at your disposal in equity. With that $150,000 you get, you're going to pay off your credit card $11,000, because your $8,000 investment from your credit card landed you in a $250,000 position. Well, $150,000 position, because once you get the new card that represents the equity of that property you just invested in, you're going to subtract $11,000, okay, from your $150,000 that you got now in equity from that piece of real estate. And mind you, it doesn't have to be a house. It can look like a damn landfill. It could be a vacant property. We only were interested in the property so we could pull out the equity so we can make a power move and invest in something major. And then considering the fact we only got this property for $11,000 total and it's worth $250,000, we pay off the credit card $11,000. We swiped it $8,000. We paid all the additional fees. We pay off the credit card. Okay? You still have over $120,000 left. Perhaps I can interest you in buying 2 consumer-friendly franchises that per annual you might make anywhere between $80,000 to $100,000 a year from both of them. So now you got $200,000 extra coming a year. This HELOC, this credit line that you got from the property, is a revolving line of credit. So every time you pay it back, it's available to you again. This is why it's important to have equity. I'm teaching you to get the real estate, not because you want to live in it, not because you necessarily want to sell it back, because of its value, and you can access its value to make power moves. But this all started with a swipe of a credit card. Because most people only use their credit card for money that they don't have. And that is a formula to get into debt that overwhelms you. I say use your credit cards to invest so you can get money that you never had. Totally different thinking. And you had one hand wash the other. What you invested with your credit card, $8,000 to $11,000, gave you access to something worth $250,000 that they gave you 60% of on a home equity line of credit called the HELOC, and they put that on the card. Lower APR rate, don't have to pay it back till after the first year. Allocated $11K back over there. Then made 2 investments in consumer-friendly franchises that give you anywhere between $85,000 to $100,000 per annual profit after expenses. What's a consumer-friendly franchise? A consumer-friendly franchise is one, let's say you got a Subway's, you invest in opening up a Subway's sandwich spot, or a $10 spot. Like I got a couple $10 spots, one in Brooklyn actually, and one in Greenville, North Carolina, which makes me well over $100,000 a year. But anyway, a consumer-friendly franchise will, if it's a $10 spot, clothing spot, they supply the clothes. They have a store locator process where they show you the most, how you will have the most optimal experience as an owner in a select neighborhood, in an area where you should thrive the most based on their advanced metrics and their analytics. So they pick your location so you succeed. They give you the clothes so you succeed. You ain't got to worry about ordering them yet. They hire your management down to the common worker. And no one even has to know a black man or black woman even owns it. Consumer friendly. So basically all you did was put your money up and called it a day. Or you could use your credit card and buy commercial retail space that's big enough to in-house maybe a Target or Whole Foods. And in doing so, it might cost you about $50,000 down payment to swipe. But then you get a broker that'll solicit it to Target or Whole Foods or any of them. And now you're making over $200,000 a year. From swiping a credit card $50,000. Because I don't want you to get credit cards so you have access to a bunch of money you never had temporarily. I want you to get access to credit cards so you can create money that you never had, thereby making those credit cards obsolete. How about that? These are just a few plays. It gets much deeper. It gets much deeper than this. It's just a few plays. You go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com. You leave your full name and your phone number when you're ready to pay $2,000 to get access to anywhere between $50,000 to $300,000 just from one of our strategies. You're definitely going to get that. Well, understand, when you pay for the service, we'll be sending letters and affidavits to credit bureaus and financial institutions alike for the purposes of removing negative items off your report, adding positive items to your report, boosting your credit scores, then leveraging the results so that you're approved for anywhere between $50,000 to $300,000 that you do not have to pay back. That's what you're paying $2,000 for. You'll also have a caseworker that'll be assigned to you, so that way They'll deal with your credit exclusively and immediately. And you also have me at your disposal as your mentor, and I'll prepare you for the monies that'll be coming in so you can grow the money that comes into a larger amount, because I'm going to give you a wide range of investment ideas and stratagems that you can employ. And I'm always going to implore, because I'm a 9th grade dropout, that you beseech the support, help, and insight of financial professionals that's credentialed, such as a CPA, accountant, financial advisor of some sort. But understand, when you're with us, I give you access to loan officers. You have people that be having tax issues. I give them access to credentialed experts to help them so we can not be limited or hindered by the opportunities that are available to you guys. Because many of you don't realize, if you're a woman, African-American woman, under 30, over 30, African-American man, under 30, over 30, never had a business, did have a business, do have a business, there's money available for you that you don't got to pay back. Our job is to find out what part of the demographic you could belong to if you already don't belong there, and to add that to your profile or take from your profile so you can fit into that category to get the money that you don't have to pay back. That's what you're paying $2,000 for. So you can have 5, 6 things giving you money. Employee retention credits. If you have a business with 5 or more employees, okay, you've already closed in on the criteria amongst a demographic of people that'll get $26,000 per each employee. And these are tax credits that has this inception in the Treasury that's being allotted to you that you don't have to pay back. Of course, there's other criteria if you have W-2 employees as opposed to 1099. There's money available to you if you have a business that's been open for at least 2 years. But Polight, I got a business, but it hasn't been open for 2 years. Polight, I got a business, but I ain't been making enough money. Then there's money available to you that you don't have to pay back. By the time we're done, we might find 5, 6, 7 things for you. I'm not doing all the work, but I have the team together that empowered me. And so you don't have to pay these different attorneys. So you don't have to pay these accountants. So you don't have to pay these loan officers. I say give me 10% of anything that you get that you don't have to pay back. And then from my share, that's how I pay them. And they don't mind doing the work for you because they know, as specialists, you're going to get the money. So when I charge you $2,000, that's for the work that we got to get done. Because some of you are like, well, my credit's already good, so why I got to pay the $2,000? Because one of the ways we get the big money for you is that we have to correspond with over 30 different credit bureaus and financial institutions. Contrary to what most people believe, they only believe that there's a TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, and FICO. Wrong. That's why a good credit score has become a misnomer. There's no such thing as a good credit score. Because if that be the case, there'd be a bunch of people with 700 plus scores, 750 plus scores, holding the credit cards that I be holding, the black cards, the smart credit cards, and all that stuff I be showing y'all. So, yeah, you email me at brotherpolight45@gmail.com. It's pinned there to the top. It's $2,000 when you're ready to change your life, when you're ready to come up, not look back. I'd be afraid to say when you're ready to become a millionaire because it starts spooking people out and people don't believe that that's possible. But I mean, shit. Net worth is about your value, which you could turn in and render to be an asset. And if you liquidate it, this is what you're worth. So credit cards, grants, forgiveness loans alike combined, you will be a millionaire. You'll have $1 million in potential, $1 million available. I'm into heavy metal, so my cards is metal. Enough with the hip hop. I'm into heavy metal. Here's what we do for people when they first come in. That's right, you leave your full name and your phone number whenever you're ready. Leave your full name and your phone number whenever you're ready to start the process. Pay $2,000, get access to anywhere between 50 grand and 300 grand, get your credit boosted. Unlimited credit cards. Change your whole financial paradigm. Get mentorship. Get one of my credit masters that I train to deal with you exclusively. Track your results on our website so you can see when money is pending processing or funding cleared. So you can see the deleted items, the positive items we add to your report, and also your credit score is being boosted. Okay? You need to see me in person in order to pay me. I mean, you're just not being practical. Because then I'm going to tell you, you got to pay me. And the amount of money and time that is money for me to do that, you don't do that with nobody else. So it's okay. It's okay. Because when I look in people's credit reports, yeah, I see y'all take every dollar serious, right? But when I look at your credit reports, you should have did that with all those people that got you in bankruptcy, student loan debt, foreclosures, repossessions. I could go on and on and on. And you didn't give them the criteria. Let me see you guys in person. Let me get to know you and talk to you for free. Them guys charge you consultations out the gate. So if you don't buy nothing, at least they made the money up the rip. Anyway, what do you learn from me? My first job when I get to you is to make sure that you're bankable. What do I mean by being bankable? Here's knowledge. A big part of you being able to get large loans is if you meet the criteria by being bankable. So many of you need to do a Western Union or MoneyGram or I be kind of under the grid, you feel me? I don't really be dealing with all the apps and da-da-da-da-da. Listen, it's understandable because we wasn't educated properly when it comes to dealing with this matrix, so I get it. So I'm not tripping or disrespecting nobody. My job is to make sure you're bankable. The first thing I'm looking for when we audit your credit and I start building with you, I want to know, do you have 3 revolving accounts? 3 revolving accounts and at least 1 installment. The 3 revolving accounts, say credit cards, 3 different types of credit cards. They have variable interest. The interest fluctuates, right? 1 installment, that's fixed interest. By installment, we mean a house, a boat, maybe a car. You're considered bankable in this system if you have 3 revolving accounts and 1 installment. 3 accounts of variable interest, 1 account with fixed interest, such as a car, boat, or house, or bike. You need to know these things because these are the things, these are the levels that I take people to get them where they need to go. Because guess what? You got people with good credit scores that are not bankable. And therefore, they can't get access to the monies that's available to people almost like them. There's some ways around it. But I just make sure you get the 3 types of credit cards especially. Because then it goes from 3 credit cards to what types of credit cards. And when you get them, do they have balance transfer options? And when you exercise the balance transfer options, when you know when it suffices to do so, it boosts your credit score. So I got to make sure you're bankable. These are conversations you don't learn in school. Hey, class, you're about to be adults going into this world. Before you graduate high school, I want to make sure that you're bankable. Actually, they could have been teaching this in junior high. By bankable, we want to make sure you have 3 credit cards or 3 revolving accounts. By bankable, we want you to have that in addition to 1 installment. Such as a house, car, boat, that has a fixed interest. Now let's discuss what a fixed interest is. Or variable interest. Because this is what adults need to thrive so they can compete in a society. Pardon me. What the hell is that? So they could compete in a society where Other people that have $300,000 to $1 million head starts, while you over here trying to save check to check and put the money on your mattress, you can't compete with them. Nobody in position of power is really going to teach the people that they love to rule over how to obtain the same power. I say it again. Nobody in position of power is going to teach the same people that are powerless how to achieve or obtain the same. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Real talk. You go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com. You leave your full name and your phone number when you're ready to have a paradigm shift. You don't got calls to tell us you'll be ready next month or next week, next year. But again, what we're doing, we charge $2,000. You will get access to anywhere between 50 grand to 300 grand. That's one of the monies you'll get access to, because that's in the bag. We got that figured out. Because there was a breach at Experian years ago, okay? But it left all of us vulnerable. So long as you are over 18 and under 65 illegal, that money applies to you. And you'll get the settlement. It's so simple. And there'll be a turn of the cheek. Remove all these negative items off that person's report. And sometimes something as simple as a mailing address throws you off because the median income is too low. So we have you change your mailing address, and inside of 2 to 3 months, when you change your mailing address and get a UPS mailing address that has a median income of over $200,000-$300,000 a year, because you was living in an area where the median income is about $50,000 or less, $60,000 or less, $70,000 or less. They say this person's at this new address for the last 2 months, and they're thriving. What a come up! They went from being in a $60,000 a year average income neighborhood to being in a over $250,000 a year average income neighborhood. Because with UPS, mailing addresses, they interpret it as an office or residential. Or you get an address at City Hall and make that your primary address. And that's adding a positive item to your report. In other instances, we'll create an endowment fund trust. Because by adding that positive item to your report, your score is going to go up about 75 points. Because it's not just about removing negative items off your report. It's about adding data. Because a lot of you, with the misnomer that we refer to as good credit, already got a good credit score. Your file's too slim because you haven't been doing nothing. So yeah, you pay your light, you pay your gas, you pay your rent. Your credit score looks good, whatever that means. But credit scoring is about the predictability of the consumer. And they can predict you've never been in no real stuff. It's like getting your stripes. You from the hood, you probably been through something. It loans you a certain level of credibility in different environments amongst different groups of people. Such is the case with credit. So we may have to add positive items to your report, so you can get the big bag. But damn, I don't got no installments. I don't got no house. I ain't got no car. Cool. Let's buy a little cheap lien. We're going to get you a credit card so you can buy a little $1,000 tax deed. Now you have a property, so now you have one installment. We help you get the other 2 credit cards. And now you're straight. Because remember, what do you need to be bankable? To be bankable, you need 3 revolving accounts and 1 installment. The 3 revolving accounts have variable interest, and the 1 installment has a fixed interest. 3 variable accounts are synonymous of one and the same as having 3 credit cards. 1 installment is considered a boat or a house or a car, and maybe even a bike. If you're lacking in that, the stratagem we will employ is to get you into the credit card paradigm first and foremost. The type of credit cards we want you to have, not the ones you already came in with us, if you have any. And then what you're going to do is purchase a property that's past due and back taxes. A tax deed. $500,000 off your credit card swipe. Now you got the deed. Now you have one installment. We just made you bankable. Got you a piece of real estate for $500, $1,000. It exists. There's real estate out here you pay $1 for. Just to get you in the game, you pay a damn dollar. But that's for a different strategy. I'm talking to you about taking out the equity so you get a home equity line of credit. I'm talking to you about making sure you have an installment to add on to your 3 credit cards, because written is not the same as an installment. So you might have an apartment but no car because you Uber off. We got to get you then installment. We need something that has a fixed interest on you, as well as 3 variable interest revolving accounts. Because when we make you bankable, now your 750 score has a little more impact. Because people got 750 scores with no 3 revolving accounts, and no installment. So 750 is just a number at that point. So you're not going to get nothing special with that. And if you got a 750 with 3 revolving accounts and 1 installment, hopefully the criteria, the cards are met. But then you probably have a slim file, meaning you don't have much going on for you. Hence the reason you want the 3 revolving accounts and the 1 installment, just to show that you got some gas. But then your address may not be good because there's credit card redlining, so they can't discriminate against you based on your race, but they can't discriminate legally based on your zip code, and races tend to exist or live in clusters per each zip code. So if your neighborhood is part of the red line on the map, they automatically don't give you a lot of credit opportunities. And if they do, minimize it so you don't get a large line of credit. So you might have a 750 credit score, because this is the answer to people say, I got good credit though, so I don't need to pay the whole $2,000. Let me get that shit for like 750, son. And what I'm telling you is that you have, hear it all the time, most of them from Brooklyn, I could tell, but Harlem too. But what I'll say is this: you have to understand that most people only know about TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, and FICO. But you must realize other entities have an impact on your credit scoring, because there's over 30 different credit bureaus. We don't want you to owe more than 36.6% if you're lagging in your payment. I always tell people 30%. That's one. You want to know about the billing date and the posting date, the annual date, the transaction date. These are all things you need to pay attention to. This is how the game works. Because you could think your shit is paid off, right? But there's the transaction date, and then it's the posting date. The transaction was made today. It's going to get posted 2 days from now. You got to find out if you got a 2-day delay or a 3-day delay on your posting. Because you could think you squared up, and then that shit don't hit until a day or 2 or 3 days later. And that's done by design. No matter how much on time, you could be aware that you paid it. Well, a lot of these credit cards ain't even gonna allow you to pay it on time until it's posted. So you gotta wait until it's posted to pay it, even though you know you paid it and you want to pay it now. They ain't about to let you spend your money today and pay it today. This bitch think he's slick. They'll make you pay today, and hopefully life catches up with your ass inside of 48 to 72 hours. And the money that you did have, you don't have later. Or it slips your mind. Or by the time it's posted, it lands right into the day That's your billing date. But then you have the reporting date, which is normally 3-4 days, maybe 5 days apart. That's the day you definitely want to owe zero. And then you can start alleviating even paying interest. You should call your credit card company and you should ask them, I know my billing date. What's the other date where the reporting takes place, or the recording? What's my recording date? The snitch date, I call it. Then when they tell you, you're going to be like, oh shit, Polight was right. And then what you do, you make a determination. When do you have the most fiat? When do you have the most money during the month? And you can tell them you want to move that other date in that area where you have a tendency to have more money during the month than other days. Or where you have your check, where you know, okay, by the time this day comes, I know I normally have cash, I can handle that. Whatever time of the month is the most convenient. Holidays may come. Slick nigga shit. I need that move. Move it here on this day. Why? Because you plan to spend different things. Spend money different ways. But you still want to make sure your recording is proper. Move it at your luxury. Just like I tell people, if you know you got a debt coming in, communicate with TransUnion, Square, and Equifax, and let them know you need to freeze your credit report right now. You don't necessarily have to tell them, yo, I effed up and shit gonna hit the fan. It's gonna hit my report. Just say, hey, I got reason to believe I might be compromised. I need my credit reporting to be frozen for now. And that way, there's no record of any debt hitting you, and you got time to prepare to work something out so it doesn't impact you. If you're paying off a debt, and you did pay off the debt, but it was an outstanding debt that took way too long to pay, let me make it clear. Because you build your credit by debt. That's the oxymoron we live in, right? In order to have great credit, you have to go into debt. But for some reason, we kind of don't want to go into debt because debt has this negative connotation. It's a debt wealth system. You're rewarded for going into debt that you can manage. If you have an outstanding debt, then what happens is you need to communicate with TransUnion, Square, and Equifax. You don't want no record of you paying back the debt. Themselves. Why would you call me on Instagram? I know clearly you see me on Instagram. I know you see the circle lit up. I'm live. So, if you pay back an outstanding debt, let's say a student loan, you want to communicate with the bureaus. I don't want the credit for paying it back. Because if they had to track you down, if you had to do agreements, if it took you years from the date, even months, people be proud. Yeah, I want it on my report. So many people pay their debts back and they wonder why their credit score goes down. Because it's about the predictability of the consumer. So the prediction is going to be, yeah, you give this nigga a good amount of money, they may eventually pay, but the problem is they ain't going to pay on time. Person A, you loaned them. I'm about to block him on this other phone. Person A, you pay $100. Person B, you pay $100. Person A, you pay $100. Person B, you pay $1,000. Loan. You loan person A $1,000. You loan person A $100,000. You loan person A $100. Pardon me. You loan person A $100. You loan person B $1,000. They both pay you back. Person B not only pays you back $1,000, but gives you interest because they're late. Person A pays you back on time, wasn't late. The $1,000 sounds real appealing because, hey, I'm getting interest. But the person who paid the $1,000 in the interest back took 2 years to pay you back when they said it was going to pay you next month. The other person paid you back the same week. Who has more credibility on these streets? Because when you with your whiz, when you with your wifey, and somebody need to borrow some money, you like, first of all, nigga, I ain't the bank. But shit, I heard you owe Day 1,000. It took Day 2 years. I heard son over here, he paid the same week and he had a whole month. Who has more credibility? So the person who pays on time, you don't mind that being reported, but the person who pays late, that's going to burn or make you lose credibility amongst the lenders. Because word is going to be, we don't even know if you're going to be able to pay that again in the future. You probably came up, thank you, you fulfilled your obligation, but 2 years late. So no, you don't want to have it reported that you essentially paid off your debt if it was an outstanding debt. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. So you always want to tell. It's raw ginger, huh? You don't want to tell people with pride, hey, I paid this debt off. Took me 5 years later than I planned to, but damn it, I paid it off. I want everyone to know, at least I paid it off. You think everybody's going to feel you because of that? They're going to shun you because of that. So you have the right to say, I want this taken off of my report ASAP. I don't want this on my credit. I don't need nobody to know my business, and they'll take it off. And then, like I said, if you know outstanding debt is going to be reported, freeze your credit report so it never hits your credit. And work something out and stop that shit from hitting your credit report. Just call them and say, I need my report froze. Also keep in mind that a lot of your activity you're going to be held accountable for. Again, the brotherpolight45@gmail.com. Leave your full name and your phone number so you can get mentorship, because like I told you, boxers have trainers. Other athletes, such as basketball players, football players, they have coaches. But when it comes to money, we just wing it. We don't know what we're doing. It's just like food. We eat food. Hopefully it tastes good. But we're not aware of how much minerals we need by the day. We're not aware that carbohydrates take 1 to 2 hours to convert into the necessary energy that we need to use. We're not aware that proteins take 3 to 4 hours to convert into the necessary energy that we need to use. We're not aware that fats take about 5 to 6 hours to convert into the necessary energy that we use. If it's not proportioned properly and eaten in the right context in terms of hours in the day, by the time your circadian rhythms suggest to you that the cells in your body clock out for work because they're not going to digest foods no more, you find yourself in a conundrum, because you might think, well, I don't eat late. But based on what you're eating, there's a 1 to 2 hour delay, 3 to 4 hour delay, 5 to 6 hour delay. So technically you are eating. And then it's disturbing your REM sleep, which is the most powerful sleep you have. You have different phases of sleep. REM is your deepest sleep. That's where all your healing takes place. And all the assessments are made about how to have you perform even better tomorrow in retrospect to yesterday, last week, last month, last year. So most people don't get REM sleep, where they have lucid dreams, remember their dreams, because the food that they've been eating throughout the day, it's giving them bursts of energy that stops them from having the REM sleep that the central nervous system needs to convey data to the endocrine system, which is your hormonal regulation. And hormones is another word for instructions. So, case in point, diabetes is a hormonal disorder. If you have a problem producing insulin, insulin is a hormone. Hormones mean instructions, so insulin gives instructions for the cells to open up their cell walls to allow blood sugar in the form of glucose.
You have 2 music capsules. Do you want to use?
That is just wickedness. So what happens is, insulin is a hormone. Diabetes is a hormonal disorder. That's how it should be identified. If your pancreas is having a problem producing insulin, which is a hormone, hormones are instructions, then what is insulin job, or who is insulin instructing? Insulin instructs the cells to open up their walls to allow blood sugar in the form of glucose to go inside of the cells so they can metabolize, do work, activity. Because if the cell walls are not instructed to be opened, then the blood sugar in the form of glucose is suspended in the blood and therefore causes nerve damage, which is why the #1 place people are impacted, first and foremost, that have diabetes, is in their feet. The nerve damage, because we don't want sugar in our blood as much as we need glucose. We don't want it suspended in our blood because it damages the nerves. It has to go inside the cells so they can metabolize. So excess amounts of sugar in our blood normally gets stored in fat called adipose and put behind the abdominal area called visceral fat, which makes it the hardest fat to get rid of, so you can do as many sit-ups as you want. If you don't change your dietary regimen, you're not going to get rid of that fat, because what's going to happen eventually, all that excess sugar being stored in fat called adipose and put behind the abdominal area is eventually going to deactivate your abs as though you're conceiving or about to have a child, because women can't have activated abs if they're going to conceive. So a lot of you are walking around like pregnant women, both male and female alike. But that's another conversation. How we got there, we'll rewind and it'll make perfect sense. But if you don't remember, the point is, it's about calculation. Knowing why you do what you do so you can expect certain results. Knowing why you do what you do so you can expect certain results. You walking with me? I hope you are. Okay? I hope you are. That's just, but you know, I teach in certain ways so I can share all the information best by making correspondences and analogies, just to get as much as information off. But it's definitely about credit, but you know, we don't calculate. Almost everyone on earth doesn't know how much magnesium or iron is required, what type of iron, because iron in meat is heme iron, and then you have the iron in plants called iron fluorine, and heme iron that we so do love that comes from meat is carcinogenic, which means the more you cook meat, the more cancerous it becomes. Iron fluorine is found in plants. If you consume enough of it, you get this feeling of, I had enough with the veggies. Heme iron, it'll allow you to absorb as much of it as possible so you don't have a breaking point to let you know you took too much in of the food that you gain access to this iron with. So we need the iron fluorine from dark green leafy vegetables, not the heme iron. And that's why if you did eat meat, you technically want to eat it rare, which I know that sounds like a whole lot of trouble. But meat is its healthiest lightly singed, because the more you cook it, the more cancerous it becomes. So you blacken your meat, pause, it becomes more cancerous. So now we're in a conundrum, because who wants to eat raw meat? Pause. Let's just get out of this whole conversation overall. But anyway, I'm just telling you, things are not what it seems, and we don't use no calculation. So therefore, what happens is sickness becomes the norm. Sickness becomes the norm. I mean, so hey, I'm a CEO of a business. We want you to be CEO of a business. I want you to be an owner of a business. Two different things. CEO may not necessarily be the owner. It's a chief executive officer. It says it right there. You can hire someone to be a chief executive officer of your business. There goes the miseducation right there. It's always miseducation going on. Always. But you go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com. You leave your full name and your phone number when you're ready to spend $2,000 to get access to anywhere between 50 grand to 300 grand inside of 90 business days or so. We're going to mentor you. We're going to keep coaching you. We're going to be working with you beyond that point. You're going to get a caseworker assigned to you that's going to deal with your credit exclusively and immediately. You're going to get me as your mentor to prepare you for the funds coming in, so you have a wide range of ideas how you may want to invest the money. And you're also going to have the website at your disposal so you can see the deleted items off your report, the items that we add to your report, when money is pending processing or the funding clears. And you'll also be able to see your credit on the rise and the intern of us doing work for you. $2,000 up front. Change your life, get the education that is needed, that's prerequisite to not only becoming rich, but most importantly, wealthy. And therefore being able to employ the themes of wealth stewardship, that is to say generational wealth, so that your children don't have to go through the nuances that we had to go through. Well, I hope this message has been very clear. I know people like talking about the scandals and what's going on with rapper friends and basketball player friends. And there's a conversation and time and place for those conversations too. But it has people too emotional and an uproar. And we don't get to the business at hand that our people need to focus on more so, which is how to be masters of your own destiny, controllers of your own paradigm, so you can shift at will. Because if we had this level of education, then the conversation taking place now amongst our good brothers wouldn't even exist. Because we would be contracting amongst ourselves or amongst each other. And therefore empowered to speak our mind whether we are in error or not, without the manipulation, the aggression, or the coercion. So these are things that's prerequisite to our freedom. You leave your full name and your phone number. Never contact us unless you're ready. You're ready, contact us. There's no harm in not being ready. People do really weird stuff during clutch time. Please don't say I didn't expect you to call right now. I thought you would call me in 2 weeks from now. I don't understand where you get the idea of 2 weeks, 1 week. Fine. Call when you're ready. There's no harm, no foul. Still $2,000 now. I definitely got to raise it. But, you know, we do what we can do. Nope, just finished doing a little calisthenics. But yeah, make sure you share this video too, because we need this information to be circulated. But like I said, it's about calculation. And we don't do stuff that's calculative. So one thing you could guarantee anybody about the lack of calculation is a calculated uncertainty. Let me say it differently. There's something that we can be sure about when we don't calculate. And that is to say, any of a number of things that can go wrong will go wrong, but we may not be able to determine in which order. If you don't teach people about credit during their adolescence, they will inevitably make mistakes in their adulthood. Facts. If people don't know what trace minerals they need, vitamins, then they don't know how to proportion their plates. They don't know how to create a regimen that caters to the specific interests and needs of the people. So most people have too much of a little bit and a lot of nothing. What does that mean? Most people have too little of a little bit and a lot of nothing. That because human beings are habitual creatures, right? My grandmother used to make fish on Fridays. I think it was associated with Christianity somehow. She used to make oxtail rice and peas on Sunday, and it would probably last from Sunday to Monday to Tuesday. Every day is left over. Every day it was tasting banging. But here's the problem. We eat kind of on a schedule. If you pay attention, every year you pretty much eat just about the same thing over and over and over. Then you forget, oh, it's something that you normally eat I haven't had that in a while. And you get back into that again. Oh, yeah. And when you get back into that, there was something else. But you pretty much eat the same thing throughout the year. So you wind up with too much of some minerals or metals, even to the point of poisoning, right? Too much, something in excess, because you're always doing it. And too little, if any, of a number of things you should have, because you're such a habitual creature. You do the same thing redundantly, so to speak. And so the only thing that we can conclude is things will not work out for you after 30 years, 40 years of doing this. Some people a little sooner, some people a little bit later. And now we accept heartache and pain as a part of the living process. We accept the arthritis. We accept the back pain. Oh, if you're a vegan, you know, you need to eat meat because where you going to get the B12 from? I remember having a debate about this. Silly. So, you think B12 comes from animals? You think animals are producing B12? Some of the dumbest stuff you can hear. No. B12, you're fooled by the alphanumeric B, alpha, numeric 12, not realizing you're talking about an organism that is found in the dirt. So because animals tend to consume foods in the dirt with dirt attached, that they consume the B12 organism that's in the dirt, goes through their bloodstream, and surfaces on their skin and in their muscles for the meat eaters to consume. And where we used to grow our own plants and foods without pesticides, without the chlorine to destroy the good bacteria as well that we need, when we ate our plants, or we seasoned the food, what you season food with? You season food with plants. The plants you season the food with has the B12. Because you won't eat those meat products without using plants to make them taste good. Unless you guys are all out there eating steak and chicken and beef without using plants to season them. Plants coming from the ground, the dirt, gives you the B12. But in this day and time, a lot of people are B12 deficient, be they meat eaters or vegetarians or vegan. So you got to know where the sources are to get these things, because every time we make advancements in society, paradoxically, we put ourselves 10 steps back because things no longer become bioavailable to us as they used to be. It's a conversation for another time. The point that I'm making is quite simply and frankly that we can achieve our goals. Nothing's going to stop us from achieving our goals but the failure to calculate. I know exactly what approach we need to take to be millionaires. Simple. Will you listen? I sat here and broke you down how to be bankable. That's automatically going to increase. Whatever limit they was going to give you, you're going to wind up in 6 figures. Just by being bankable and making sure you got the right type of revolving accounts that make you bankable. Simple. If you're not, okay, I know how to get you bankable. I know how to get you an installment that's affordable, but first let me help you get the right type of credit card that's not going to give you a late fee so you can spend that on a pass-through delinquent property tax for $500,000. So it buys you some time so you have that one installment account. Okay, you have your 3 revolving accounts and 1 installment, but your file too slim because you don't do enough in the credit world. Let me set you up an endowment fund trust, and then let's report it so it can be added as a positive item to the report. Oh, the median income of your neighbor is not that good. Cool. Let us get you a mailing address in City Hall or UPS that's considered residential or business, so they can compare and contrast your previous mailing address for one that you presently are in, the new one, after 2-3 months, and then they're going to boost your credit 50, 75 points. Like, this shit here is light. This ain't even where it really gets juicy. This is a game I just give out here. This is light. So it's just like nutrition. That's how my mind works. Okay, so what is it that we need to achieve or obtain these results? Because after a while, I get tired of eating as though I don't realize I need to be looking for certain things in certain proportion because I'm making investments into my future. I'm making investments into my older age because I don't want to be in pain. So I need to know what am I doing in excess so I can stop. So maybe I need to get a hair mineral analysis so it can tell me the amount of toxins that I got, how much metals I got, and which minerals I'm lacking in, just from a piece of hair. Maybe I need to get a food sensitivities test to make sure that the type of food that I like, I'm actually absorbing properly, or I don't have an allergic response to it. My body treats it like it's a foreign invader. Because then I'm over here eating avocados thinking it's good for me, but it's good in general, but it's not good for me. So I have to find another food or foods that can add up to the nutrition of the avocado. Because all the while, because I'm not showing visible signs of me being impacted negatively by it, I am internally being impacted negatively by it. Hence the reason for food sensitivity tests. It's about calculation. It's about calculation. That's what it's about. Talk to me nice. It's a 60 to 90 day process, but honestly, we're going to deal with you beyond 60 days. Because my goal is to produce several millionaires at a time. Because it's a sport and it's fun. I love to see my people on the come up. Some people say, oh, you're not teaching no more. Fool me. I thought this was all teaching. But it's not teaching unless you're teaching what everybody... It's not teaching unless I'm talking about what everybody else is talking about. That's what you mean. How come you're not talking like or about the things everyone's talking like or about? I don't have time to be like everybody else. That's why I'm in a better situation than most people, statistically. Because while people will focus over here, I've always said, if everybody's attention is over there, I need not to be over there. And I'm like, hey, look. That's when I'd be like, oh, I'm on my own wave. I'm on my own mission. Real talk. But yeah, go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com. Leave your full name and your phone number when you're ready to purchase our credit restoration service. $2,000 will remove negative items from your report, add positive items to your report, boost your credit scores, and leverage the results so that you're approved for anywhere between 50 grand and 300 grand, not limited to, because we'll find other venues of money for you to be successful and obtain without you having to pay back. You get a caseworker at your disposal that'll deal with your credit exclusively and immediately, and then you'll also have me at your disposal as your mentor, and I'll be coaching you and preparing you for funds that will be available to you by teaching you a wide range of investment strategies you may want to employ for the purposes of growing the monies that you get into a larger amount. I'll help you obtain the best credit cards and then teach you credit card investing, because like I told you, most people's idea of having credit cards is to access it for money you don't have, and that's a failing strategy. Oh, you want credit cards in case you don't have the money. Okay, so why do they have credit cards with such large limits? Because who normally has $100,000? Who normally has $50,000? Situations. And if you see what I'm saying? So that's what people think is small-minded. I need a little $5,000, $10,000 limit in case there's an emergency, then I'm gonna use my credit card. But that's a failing model to want credit cards for money you don't have. Because if you don't have it, then how will you pay it back? Credit card investing is where it's at. Coming up with a working model where we can access funds we didn't have for the purposes of growing opportunities financially for ourselves. Real talk. Real talk. So again, you leave your full name and your phone number, and you're ready to get it in. $2,000 up front. Change your life. Stop hesitating. I missed it all. Can you give me a summary, please? I make sure I be repeating what I say in the interim of this. Just watch the video. It's gonna be uploaded a few minutes after the time we take it down. Make sure you share this video. I give a wealth of information for free that can empower you now in real time. So make sure you get that going. Okay. I don't have 2K. And save up until you get it. Hopefully it's still 2,000 by the time you're ready. You know, when people sell houses, nobody knocks on their door or go to the bank and say, hey, I just want you guys to know I don't have the money for the house. At all. So nobody knows. Free game. Free smoke. Free smoke. So yeah, make sure you share the video. Hello, people are crazy. Hello, people are crazy. You know, I definitely ain't looking to be rude or disrespectful to nobody. Just want to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? That's why I teach as much as I teach, so you can look up the information, verify, be like, damn, son kicked so much knowledge. What the hell would he have to lie for? And I also show you the lifestyle, not because I'm materialistic, but it is a form of barometer to discern if anything is actually working, because people talk about a lot of stuff online. They don't show you the credit cards like I show you. They don't show you the houses, the cars. And I'm like this year after year after year after year after year after year after year. So I'm consistent. And people misinterpret it as I'm saying money is the end all. It's all about money. No, I'm just saying if I'm teaching something, I should be able to demonstrate that which is associated with it. That's all. Okay. So yeah, email us at brother, POLIGHT45, pride, optimism, love, integrity, talent, honesty, and trust. brotherpolight45@gmail.com. And leave your full name and your phone number and assert that you are absolutely ready. I have something special for you guys that come in right now into this morning. We're gonna be super lit because there's some new opportunities that just was created. I gotta actually do a whole stream on that because I already been talking for longer than I anticipated, and I gotta get back to my children. But yeah, I got some stuff like that. You know, I probably gotta let this video marinate. Maybe I go on Facebook tomorrow and talk about the new money that's available for us. But remember, the money be available, the sense and know-how to fill out the application is not available. They make them applications so difficult, you mess up, then you back in the line again. Oh, it's over with. You waiting 2 months for a response, 1 month for a response, and the next thing you know, you find out you did it wrong. That's why I have trained professionals to make sure when you're doing your employee retention credit that you do it right the first time around. No errors. Leave it to the professionals. I'm not even talking about myself. I'm smart enough to build a situation around me where the people amongst me are credentialed. A lot of times, the people with little to no education, formal education, are the ones hiring the people that are credentialed to do work for them. Almost everybody on my team, I think everybody on my team, has way more educational credentials than I do because I dropped out in 9th grade. I had some 10th grade credits though. But, you know, it's neither here or there. But I'm smart enough to know when it suffices to work with people that are part of the system for my own personal benefit. Real talk. But yeah, we'll talk, man. Blessings in abundance. Talk to me nice. I really love and appreciate you guys. I'm too smart to be broke. Make sure y'all wake up. Let me say that again. Basketball players, football players, they get coaches. Boxers get trainers. When it comes to this money, We behave just like how we eat. Just as long as it tastes good. As long as it sounds good. No calculation. And it winds up hurting us later on in the future. Real talk. Love you guys. Blessings in abundance. Let's get this bread. Change our lives. I know some of my lingo might be alarming. And my complexion probably really alarming to have this type of info. But in my world, I feel like it's all about showing, improving, and success rates. You know? You got people that's credentialed to talk about relationships. Not even in one of their own. Where they do that at, they do it quite often though. This world is wild. I'm just saying, I've been retired for some years now. Money is sport, just do it for fun. And you should too, so you have your time and your life back. I'm too smart to be broke. Make sure you wake up and you say that every day. I'm too smart to be broke. And it costs too much to be poor. More concessions are made to wealthy people than it is made to people that are in a lower tax bracket. It actually costs too much to be poor in this day and time. The price of living is going up, and more concessions are being made to wealthy people. I'm too smart to be broke, and it costs way too much to be poor. Iluvu.